not. Son of a bitch. Oh,
I'm gonna have
all
to
right. So
put
I
that on my
recorded that.
checklist.
Gosh, bonus material, everybody. I hit record. Ugh. Okay. Sharing
Take
bonus
two.
material here for everybody. This is take like 18. We had a great interview, which you're going to see. And we I didn't hit record. Luckily, there's so many recording devices out there today. We got the recording anyways. So now we had to go back and we have to do some additional recording like around that kind of stuff. And on our first try, which was phenomenal, it was my best intro ever. I guarantee you. But it was also Michael's worst. So we decided, all right, I saved him from that. I didn't hit record. We're gonna have to work on this because this is like too many times that I've done this. I'm going to have to like smack my hand every time. I'm going to just send this automatically to record again, just like I should everything else. All right. That being said, you guys get you get the blooper bonus material this time around. And we are going to kick off the part two of the Kevin Adelsberger interview. And hopefully we'll have perfected our intro by now. The little tres, dos, uno. Hello and welcome back. We are continuing our season of Building Better Foundations. We are the Building Better Developers podcast, also known as Developreneur. Actually, we were Developreneur first and then we became Building Better Developers. That's its own story. You can check that out elsewhere. I happen to be Rob Broadhead, one of the founders of Developreneur, also the founder of RB Consulting, where we are is often referred to as a boutique consulting company. We do IT consulting, we do technology, but basically what we do is we sit down with you, help you understand your business, and become your technology partner. We help you work through things like licenses and vendors and what is it that you need to do your business and what's available to help you do it better, how to leverage technology in the best possible way. We sit down with you, we walk through your processes, your procedures, we look at ways through simplification, integration, automation, innovation to help you build a roadmap to be better today and better positioned for growth and success in the future. Check us out at rb-sns.com. Also, we have a free Insta assessment, basically Insta being about 10 minutes. Sit down, answer a few questions, and you can get a nice little guideline, a little roadmap, like a really simple, roadmap of like, this is roughly where you are. Here's some things you need to do. Check that out at matrix.rb-sns.com. Good thing, bad thing. I get to change it up this time because the bad thing, for those of you on the podcast, the rest of you that are the YouTubers already know this, but I have managed to not be able to hit the record button way too often lately. And while we're in the midst of a really busy time, and we really don't need to spend this extra time on this, I am managing to burn time that we don't have. So smack myself on the wrist is just not very good. That's my bad thing. The good thing is we get better every single time we do it. The more we practice this, the more we redo it, the better. And as I'm thinking about this, there's also another podcast that I am on that we're doing the same thing. I think we've recorded like 6 or 7 times, and we're about to do another one at some point, and hopefully we'll have that perfected. But that one's a little different. Also, very different is my co-host, and he's going to go ahead and introduce himself again.
Thanks, Rob. Hey, everyone. My name is Michael Malott. I'm one of the co-founders of Building Better Developers, also known as Developreneur. I'm also the owner of Envision QA, where we help businesses struggling with software. We help you take back control of your software. This could be software that you have had custom made or even cookie cutter software that you bought over the shelf. We find too often that businesses struggle with inappropriate software or software that just doesn't meet their needs. And you could find yourself in this situation where you try to do something, it doesn't work for you, and you end up building these processes to make the software work for you, not the other way around. That's where Envision QA comes in. We help combine the quality of test-driven development, and we sit down and walk through the user stories with you and your team to figure out how the software really needs to work to meet your business needs. And then we build that custom solution or find the right software for you. So check us out at envisionqa.com. Good thing, bad thing. Oh, go ahead.
No, I forgot it. I was like jumping right ahead. I'm sorry. Good thing, bad thing.
Bad thing, my co-host likes to not hit the record button and interrupt me at that time. No. Good thing, bad thing. Good thing, the weather's changing. It's getting nice and cool out there. Starting to really enjoy the season. Bad thing, it is my seasonal allergy time of the year, so I'm struggling with allergies a little bit. But thank goodness for Zyrtec and Clear.
Well, the reason I keep jumping ahead and stepping on Michael's toes today, and because I guess I'm going to use that as my excuse for not hitting the record button as well, is because I really enjoyed this conversation with Kevin. So we're going to jump right into part two, picking up right where we left off with our interview with Kevin Adelsberger. We're going to talk about marketing, and we're going to even ask the question that nobody wants to be asked anymore because it gets asked way too often. We'll let you like wait with bated breath for that one to happen. Here we go, back to our interview with Kevin.
So is there, and it's sort of continuing on that, I guess because there's a couple ways. I guess I'll go with this one. Is I've seen a lot of stuff on the psychology of like colors, and there's some fonts and some stuff like that. Um, is that something that you see that you regularly as a regularly creating brands and
Yeah.
and stuff like that? Is that something that comes to mind a lot, or is it a little more of a like, and that's got its place, but really there are
Color
other.
psychology is largely, I think, not real. I would argue that most times color psychology is not real. Now, there may be a few instances where there might be some wisdom to take place, but and I can't think of a good example here right now, but like there may be a certain color that's a problem for your industry. Like you may not want a certain color because it has a connotation within your industry, but like certain colors making people feel a certain way, you can find examples of every counter version of that. Honestly, Google color theory logos, and you'll find just get images, and you'll see all sorts of charts of every successful brand that does and does not match their brand colors, the color theory beyond them. Fonts are a little bit different. Fonts can set a tone for a type of communication. And so color could be used in a way like that, but fonts for sure will. And so whether it's hand lettered or a serif font or a sans serif font, there's a lot of different meaning that you can pull from this is very formal, this is informal, this is fun, this is serious, this is techie. A lot of that can really come through in the font. And so I would say that way. Thinking about the brand, thinking about the overall messaging is more important than necessarily the color or the font. Because if you want to be like a fun, crazy brand and you have a serif font and a one color logo and not a lot of fun, like no messaging around it, then you've got that disconnect there. And no amount of color is gonna or no like no there's not like a color that's gonna set people off the wrong way about that.
Now, with that kind of, particularly now as we talk about message, and because a lot of it, especially when you're side hustling and you're a technology person, you're probably going to be like, fidgeting with your technology and your website and stuff like that on a regular basis. Especially these days, I know a lot. I've run into many people and even business owners that are um, they're hooked on like some of the metrics and stuff like that, particularly when you look at like Google ads and Google Words and
Yeah.
all of the different ways that you can evaluate your site. Is there a how do you feel about people that are regularly tweaking, making those adjustments and doing those changes? And by regularly, is I'm sort of throwing that out to you, is like, is there a good is there a good time of like, okay, do this, let it bake in, and then reset, and then continue, or should you leave stuff more continuous? Should you do little adjustments on the side? What are your thoughts on that as sort of as evolving, especially from a refining point of view, evolving and refining your message and your content?
Ideally, once you've got your message dialed in and styled in, like your main like elevator pitch, your one liner, who you are as a company, ideally that's dialed in pretty quickly, and it may evolve over time, but it's not going to be super regular things. Now, there are things that you could look at every month or every week on your website to try to make revisions on improvements. A lot of that has to do with the number of people that are coming to your site. And so I would imagine most people are not having enough traffic to make any really good decisions off of data every day. Um, you know, Disney, sure. ESPN, yeah. Amazon by the hour, I'm sure. But like for most of us and the rest of the world, once a day is probably too much, but once a month might be a better looking point, or once a quarter might be a better looking point. Um, I actually usually see the problem on the other side, where people are never looking at their website after they launch it. And it's out of date and not relevant. And oh, by the way, the API on their Google Maps is broken, and it's been broken for 6 months, and nobody said anything to you about it. Or your contact form is broken, and nobody's mentioned it to you. And so that's the bigger issue I see. The other side of that, going back to that changing it every day, my question would be is like, do you not have like client work to be working on that you're doing instead of changing your website every day? And then, because when we think about fundamentals of marketing, I break marketing into two categories. There's inbound marketing and outbound marketing. Okay. So inbound marketing is all the things that you are ready to be found. So you have the website, you've got your brand, you've got your messaging, you've got your products, you've got your website set up. So if someone comes to find you, they figure out whether they want to do business with you. Once you've got that set up, you should be able to like check it periodically to make sure it's working, and then spend your time doing more outbound stuff. So networking and writing blogs and interacting with other people so that you can get business coming in. And figuring out how to manage that time between those things is important. But we don't make changes to our website every day. I'll say that.
So, kind of taking this, continuing this thread a little bit. So, as like if someone is building their business or expanding from the hustle to the business, what are some tips or tools that you could suggest for marketing novices or people that really don't have any clue on where to begin? They may not even know what a marketing, like a sales funnel is. They may not even know what like an email, email cluster is, or MailChimp, or things like that. Where is a good place for people to start?
Yeah. This is one of my favorite books to tell people to start at. It's Story Brand by Donald Miller. There's a new version of this out. I have not read the new version, so I can't tell you if it's any good. And he does a great job of helping you understand a lot about marketing. That's really good. Another book I'd recommend is Entree Leadership by Dave Ramsey. He has a whole section about marketing and a lot of other good business fundamentals in here too. And so it's like a really light grade MBA. And then a more advanced book I'd recommend is this is Blair Enns, who's big in the marketing world, but everybody who's in business in a consultative sell could enjoy it. It's called The 4 Conversations. And it's about the 4 conversations to sell things. And he's got some really good thoughts that are not just marketing agency. He consults with marketing agencies, but it could be really adjacent to, I think, everybody who has a business that's a consultative sale. Like us, we have that in common, I would say, that we're not just like, here's your car wash, here's your car. It's like, let's figure out the problem, create a solution, and then work towards that solution. That's kind of like we all do that on this podcast. He talks about a lot about how to market that in this 4 Conversations book. So I think it's a really good one as well. Those are some places to look. We also have a lot of content on our website that's about marketing fundamentals that can be found as well. But if I was to, actually, when I was getting ready for this, I pulled up notes from a talk that I did about marketing fundamentals. The first thing is understanding who you are. So like, what do you bring to market? How you bring it to market, and what makes you different. What are your competitive advantages? Making sure you have those lined up. And then a couple of lightning round things. Does your visual brand, is it consistent? Can you use it in multiple places? Do you have a one-liner that kind of talks about what problem you solve and who you solve it for? So for example, we wrote one for an HR company that said, we turn human resources into human capital. I believe is how we worded it. And the reason behind that was like everybody hates HR, I don't know that I've ever met anybody that likes HR unless you work in HR. Human capital has a better ring to it, and it's like instead of human resources, as it's an investable thing over here in capital. We Do you have the website? Who's the website for? Is it for you or is it for your customer? Does it answer all your customers' questions? And then, does it avoid using stock photos? Like stock photos for a lot of places, like it's a dead giveaway that they might not be a legitimate entity. There are circumstances where it makes a ton of sense. I know that. But we encourage people to do that as little as possible because it helps build trust with people. Like these are real people doing a real thing, and they're not afraid to show their faces. um, and then because I always like to see leadership on people's websites as well, because if you're not afraid to tell me who you are, I'm less concerned about doing business with you. If you're trying to hide who you are, it makes me question why you would want to hide who you are.
So it's interesting. I kind of want to go back to like that second one you talked about where, figuring out your business and marketing to your customers and that. And when you're trying to figure out marketing and growing your business, how would you suggest that people look at their competition? How do you figure out what the competition is doing and how they're doing it right, but not so much steal it? Sometimes you can steal their techniques, but you don't want to necessarily steal their branding outright because you get into copyright and that. But how can you kind of look around and see what people are doing and utilize that without getting in trouble?
Well, artists steal, I think is the phrase. So, I think there's a good amount, healthy part of competition where you take other people's ideas and make them better. You don't want to steal someone's logo and try to like deceive people that you are that company, right? But being aware of what some of your competitors are doing is a good thing. I would actually encourage. I'm a part of a couple of groups of other agency owners where we're not in direct competition with one another. Excuse me, because of industry focus or geography. And it is a very worthwhile time to get together with those folks to hear about what's working for them, what's not working for them, so that I can learn and steal things without feeling bad about it.
I like that. So how did you find out about that, or how can people look for something like that within their particular niche or industry?
Yeah, there's a lot of owners groups of different things. So I joined the Bureau of Digital, was the first one that I joined, and it's just it's a several thousand agency owners from across the world, and so if you're in an industry that's been around for a while, I would bet if you Googled industry groups or ownership groups, you would find people that would have wisdom to share. And they like it when you share wisdom too, and so it's like kind of a two-way street where they, you contribute, other people contribute, and everybody wins.
Very nice. Rob?
So we'll go with the one that everybody has hot on their top of their mind these days. So what do you think about AI in the world of marketing and how people are using
43 minutes in, Rob, and you ruined the interview.
I know. I wanted to wait till the end so everybody else is like, okay, check, I'm out of here. But let's face it, we get this all the time too. So
yeah, I threw up a little bit. Repeat your question again for me.
What are your thoughts on it? It's like, because I know there are some people out there, like it's like in everything. People are like, AI is going to like eliminate marketing. You're never going to have to worry about it again because it's going to do all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then even I guess the stuff a little bit probably, which is I think which is an interesting area to get into, I think, is the generation of content as well. Now there's like the complete from scratch, stuff that's been around for a while where these things just go out and they just like, pull stuff in. So you've got essentially fake content that you're using to, make your site look more, or your company bigger than it is. But then there's also somewhere it's using it like more like a Grammarly or something like that, where it's really, it's wordsmithing your way into it in your message. Yeah. And so what are your thoughts on it? It's like, is there a place for it, or where do you see a place for it?
Yeah. Let me start really big picture. I think this is the downfall of society. I might be overstating just a little bit, but like, I mean, there is certainly a component where there's a huge class of people whose incomes have been generated through developing creative things, whether that's software or video or marketing, that is getting cut off at the knees right now. And let's say every one of those developers who bought a nice sports car when they got their raise, will they be able to afford that sports car in 2 years? And some AI company that's doing it for a third of the cost, will they ever be able to afford a sports car, right? And so, and then, what's to stop me in 6 months from just using the latest version of Lovable or whatever to write the software for myself that I only have to pay Lovable for, and not some AI guy who made the software that replaced the other software, right? And so there's like the shell game that's happening right now, and there's going to be a lot of bleeding in the economy before it's all over, my estimation. Okay. The other thing that's hanging out there um, is I think there's so many legal questions still about ownership and rights and access. I think it's going to be really hard to put that genie back in the bottle. And if it goes to the Supreme Court says, AI doesn't, there's nothing that you can produce that's not been used copyright material. So like you're all open to legal liability, or nothing can be trademarked that was created with AI touching it, and then everybody can steal everything. Either way, there's like huge downsides to all those things. That all being said, I would be a fool if I wasn't trying to utilize it in my business right now. And so I've got to think through ways to use that locally. Now, so those are some big, broad statements. To get more practical, I mean, AI slop is a great terminology. I'm glad that that term has come into the public consciousness, along with clanker as a derogatory term for AI tools. I like both of those. We are trying to find wise ways to implement it around our company all the time. Like we have a meeting every Monday to look at latest AI tools and like, can we practically put this into use? And we've had a lot less implementation than we thought we would have at this point, honestly. And maybe that's just us, but I think I've seen a lot of statistics. I've seen some statistics on the Harvard Business Review that said the same thing. Is like people are spending money to implement AI, but it's not doing what they want it to do. And so, so I think there's a gap to go still. Our view in the company is we want it to assist us to do our work better and more efficiently. It's not replacing anybody, mostly. Like we have used it for voiceover. And so like that's one less check that I have to write to a voiceover artist, which I'm not excited about. Like, but the client's budget wasn't going to allow for it anyway, or the timeline wasn't going to allow for it anyway. And so, so like there's a video in my area that has a woman's voice on it that was actually me, that was AI modified to sound like a female's voice as the narration on the video. And I could have paid someone to do that, but time and budget didn't allow, so we did it with the computer. So that's a very real, practical, like that was money that did not go to a contractor because we had the AI tool available that I could do it with. Now we're trying to do that as little as possible. There's certain circumstances, but so like we had a website we were working on recently, and the client was being difficult about getting us answers on stuff, which if you've ever built a website for anybody, that's like the day ends in Y, right? But and so I was like, hey, let's take what we know, let's work with AI, help it build out the content. We proofed it and improved it and worked on it, and then presented it to the client and worked on. That was an easier start to work with the client in an industry that we're not super knowledgeable about. That's a easier starting place for the client to review instead of having them to regurgitate everything about their industry to us. So there's good and bad. I think it's the phrase I've been using is it's democratizing creativity. So for example, I mean, from a developer side, like I had an idea for a piece of software, nothing complicated. I mean, Software is complicated, period, but like nothing crazy. Like we're not going to run a business off of it. It's just like a tool to show a thing. And in 30 minutes with, can't remember which one I used. I used one of those the AI software tools, Replit, I think. Like I had a working prototype, and it cost me $5. And so like it's democratizing those skills. So like you guys may not be illustrators, but like you can get Chat GPT or Gemini or whatever to do that for you now. And so I think when we get those big legal questions answered, that's going to be a lot of things that happens. But yeah, it's an interesting future, and I'm not really sure what my job looks like in 10 years, honestly.
Oh, good. That's sort of what we're seeing, and it's it's essentially, I think it's par for the course. You get technology, and then people go nuts, and they're like, "Oh, we're going to use this, and it's going to replace everything, and this is how we're going to do it." And then it settles down, and then we get into like, okay, here's how. I think way back, this is goes back a bit when Google started out, and you were able to Google stuff, and that's sort of to me that's been part of that progression is you were able to go find stuff, but then also you always knew that it was you had to take that with a grain of salt. And I guess even now I hear that the young kids these days, that's like if you're telling something that's BS, they'll say, well, that's AI. So if you're like, hey, I rode on a dragon to work today, they'll be like, oh, that's AI. And so I think it is becoming, the good news is that I think it's becoming, just like you said, you can see Fiverr, logos and stuff like that. I think people are starting to recognize that, like, they're questioning everything, which is probably not a bad thing anyways. And then they're starting to get a feel for like, oh, wow, this is probably AI. This is maybe AI.
Yeah. Well, it's October 7th today. And so last week, I feel like we crossed the line with the new Sora, where it can make things that look real enough that we can no longer believe everything that we watched on TV. I mean, I'm a big sports fan. I don't know if you guys are sports fans, but there's a guy who used to be the quarterback for the New York Jets named Mark Sanchez, and he got stabbed this weekend, which might have been his fault. Sounds like he started a fight, anywho. But there's security footage of him walking drunk. And I was like, hey, Sora came out 7 days ago. I could have faked this with Mark Sanchez. Like I could have, he's famous enough, his image is everywhere. We could have faked this video of his security camera, him walking drunk. The world, the world has changed. And I don't think we've fully identified that yet. Are you guys using AI in any practical applications? I guess can I ask you guys a question? I guess, I don't know.
Well, yeah, but for myself, and Michael can answer differently, but I've been casually working with my team on it, similar, I guess, to what you guys did there. Is that we've been working for at least the last year, about finding ways to help us solve problems, much more as like a search tool and stuff like that, and particularly because yes, in software development, there are a lot of problems that have been solved 100 times before. So you can find a good example, and you can basically say, okay, let's take this and move forward. But it's definitely had a lot of challenges in it because it does stuff its way. And if you don't know what you're asking, I had a conversation with a guy about a week ago that's an AI, was deep in AI. And he said, he said the best way to think of it as AI is like an entry level or maybe tops a mid-level employee and getting them to do something for you. And it really resonated with me because it's like you have to be very specific. You really have to know your domain that you're working with it to get the kind of answers out that you need. And it will, we found it I use it as a thinking outside of the box, actually, is a lot of times you'll throw a question at it and it'll give you an answer that is completely different. We did a whole season of Developreneur. Last season, we took every topic from a prior season and we threw it into AI and said, give us some things to talk about. And it hit some stuff that we did. Sometimes it went in a completely different direction, but it is definitely, to me, it's something that's like you have to be playing around with it. You have to be working with it and figure out how it's going to fit into specifically something like this, where we're creating, source code, software development, you're creating content and you are creating new stuff, but then you can build off of other stuff, which is all AI is. It's not going to create anything new. It's just going to mix and match what already existed.
One of my favorite questions to ask it is, what am I not thinking about, or how should I think about this differently? So like I'll write a thing and a plan or whatever, and I'll feed it the plan and be like, how can I improve this? What should I think about? That, and it's been very helpful actually.
Yeah,
It
it's one of
really
the
is.
biggest. Go ahead, Rob.
I was just going to, it really is, especially if you can take it in steps. I found that is very effective for that way. We actually planned a trip to Europe, and how we did it based on with conversations with AI, and we started big and then worked it down to step by step by step by step, and got some really great answers along the way, because it's along the way saying, okay, well, how about what if I look at just this? Let's take it outside of the context of everything else, or there's some other ways to look at it. Michael?
Yeah, so one of the biggest benefits I've seen to it, given that, yes, I'm a software company, we build software, but I'm also heavily testing focused. And one of the biggest things I've seen with AI is if you put in like a system requirements and say, give me all the listed edge cases, give me, kind of define what it is I should be testing. And then from there, you can kind of ask it more. You can flesh out ideas. You can think about, oh, I missed this edge case, or I didn't think about this.
Mm-hmm.
And then ultimately, the other thing is, and I know people joke about this, people over 40 using it as their Google. Really, from a software development perspective, it's not bad to use AI for your Google, because sometimes it's going to give you like, hey, this is how I would approach this, or hey, maybe this is a programming language you should look at. And so you then go to Google and you start with more refined Google searches. It kind of is the Kickstarter to get you where you want to go with Google, instead of going through all the fluff and all, trying to scroll through all the pages to figure out what it is that you want.
That makes a lot of sense.
Well, we're running up on time. I want to thank you so much for the time that you've given us, Kevin. This has been great. We've gone all over the place, and you have joined us on the journey. Before you leave, though, I do want to, I want to just throw out to you, what is the best way for people to get a hold of you if somebody's like, I like this guy, I like where he's going, I think he can make my company better?
Yeah, carrier pigeon smoke signals are usually pretty efficient. No, you can keep up with us on LinkedIn. I think would be a great place if you're wanting just to kind of see what we're working on. Would be a great place to do that. Find me on LinkedIn, Kevin Adelsberger. I'm sure you'll know how to spell that the first time that you hear it. And then or Kevin at adelsbergermarketing.com is a great email for me.
Excellent. And I will second that. Yeah, I follow you on LinkedIn, and you guys have some great stories, some of the things you guys have been doing. It's been fun watching from a distance and living vicariously through you guys a little bit and some of those things going on. So thank you so much for your time. We're going to let you go. And like I said, we'll get this out. Everybody, everybody's standing and applauding right now. If you guys can just quiet back down so we can let Kevin leave the room. He's got places to go because he's an important person. We will be back with you guys for future episodes. That's right. You got mini me's to create.
That's right. That's right. So thank you guys for having me. It was a really good conversation. I'll see you later.
Thanks a lot, Kevin.
Thanks again,
Bye.
Kevin.
And that will wrap up the conversation with Kevin. I want to thank him, really appreciate his time and all of the work that he did, especially because I have literally done, I think, it's about 100 interviews at this point. And this is the first time that I did not record it the first time around. As far as I remember, I don't remember ever doing this before. If I mentioned it, then you guys can leave a note, something in the comments and say, hey, you did that one time before. And I'll be like, okay, crap. Now I've done it twice. It really hurts my percentage too, from like 99% to 98. But now I have to do like another 1,000 or whatever to get it up close to anything useful. That being said, thank you Kevin for your time. We appreciate it. Hopefully you appreciate it. As always, this is really what's interesting to me is every time I have an interview, I feel like if you guys get half out of it, what I do, then it is more than worth your time. It has been a great time. He was a great guest. Who knows? We may try to have him back on again because he's just one of those guys that's got a lot of information and he enjoys doing it. He really enjoys doing what he loves doing what he does. I will say we love it when we get email from you. So shoot us an email at info@developreneur.com and let us know your thoughts. Give us some feedback, positive, negative, however it is. Or if you don't like email, who doesn't like email? If you don't like email, then you can leave us comments on anywhere that you see the podcast. You can out there on the Developreneur channel on YouTube. Also check out the YouTube Developreneur channel. There's a lot of other stuff besides these. I was out there the other day doing some stuff and I was like, wow, we've got a lot of content and material out there crossing a lot of different areas. You can also follow us at Developreneur on X. And we have a Facebook page for those of you guys and gals that are over whatever it is now, over 100 years old or whatever. The people that use Facebook, like me, there's the Developreneur page. That being said, I want to thank you so much for your time. Thank Kevin again for his time. We appreciate what he's done for us. We appreciate what you are doing for us. Go out there and have yourself a great day, a great week, and we will talk to you next time. So, bonus material thoughts on the Kevin interview.
So, little disclaimer: we have worked with Kevin before with Developreneur. Back when I was actually in Lash Consulting, I ran into Kevin through the Code Starter program here, and the codes like a WeWork thing, and a lot of the things that Kevin touched on were really good topics and clear marketing ideas that really apply to all forms of business. It could be startups, it could be side hustles, it can be, running your business. And I really want to check out some of those books he mentioned. Those were really good tips. I liked his little bit of his thoughts on AI and where it's going from our discussion in the part 2 of that. And even going back to part 1, all the foundational stuff he talked about, it's really key. And I've seen that many times where a lot of stuff he talks about may seem common sense, but a lot of times we don't think about that, especially as a startup. You're really focused on your idea. Hopefully you're focused on that mission and your why. But if you're not, we talk about this all the time, you really need to understand the why. And that really flows into the why gives you what you're doing. And then you really can kind of focus your marketing or your pitch around that and build your marketing around that, which will help you build your business.
Yeah, I think that's one. This goes back to, Kevin really likes what he's doing. He's really good at it. He really does a great job of blending the things you need to do to get out there and get eyeballs and things like that, which is all of the marketing related stuff, but also how to tell a story and to do it in the best word I can think of it, in a genuine way. So it's not just Sunday, 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 buy this car here and that car there. It's not the in your face kinds of advertising or anything like that. It's really more about it's more about finding a way to connect to the people that you're working with. And I really appreciate that he spent some time with us, and we've had several conversations about Developreneur itself and how we position it and things of that nature that are very useful to us, have been giving us some great thoughts, great ideas, and hopefully you guys got some of those as well during this episode. He's really just he is exactly the same in person as he is. I think his personality came across a lot here. He's exactly the same in real life. So if you guys work with him, you will experience the same Kevin that you got on the podcast. Other than that, I think the AI stuff is always interesting, is what people think of it and where it goes, because everybody's got probably 2 or 3 opinions on it, because none of us want to we all want to hedge our bets. Basically, we're like, it could go here, it could go there. We want to be able to at least say, well, we weren't completely wrong on it. But there's a lot of stuff there, and he is in an area that I know people that have lost jobs that are in marketing and design and that, because of AI, because people are like, oh, we can do it all right now with AI, and then you see people with 18 fingers, or the stuff that now you see all over social media, where it's like, hey, here's the preview for this new movie that doesn't exist, and some of them are comical, that it almost looks good. I will share this and then we will wrap this one up, is that I saw one for the Three Amigos. It was supposed to be Three Amigos Part 2. And they've got a picture of the Three Amigos, which this is an older movie. And it was Martin Short and I'm trying to think of the other 2 guys that were in there. Shoot. Now I totally lost their names. But the funny thing is that one of them, they had a picture of the 3. One of them was actually his picture. And the other two were people that I don't even know who those people were. They had nothing to do with it. And if you looked at all at any of the things other than the title, it was text just slammed on top of it. It was just like, it looked like somebody took a bunch of text and just like pasted it on top, on top, on top, on top. And it's like, yeah, you guys did a horrible job. Like you got one name right, and the names were all wrong. They were like all over the place. Oh, Chevy Chase was one of them, and they had the names all wrong. They were all mixed up for the actors. It was just like that's the kind of crap we're going to see. It's like some of the AI is out there, but it's also just unworkable. It's like there's a lot of it that's crap. Just like the code that we get generated sometimes. Sometimes it's pretty good. A lot of times, more often than not, I have to say, wait, I need you to do this, or I need you to do that. Or if I keep it small enough, I'm just like, you know what, forget it. I'll do it myself. That's just how it goes. That being said,
now that I will throw this out though, with that being said, uh, Kevin is very open. So if you have any marketing questions or need some advice, check him out on the links in that we'll provide. He is more than willing to. He is very open and he is very approachable. So if you got questions, shoot him a question, or shoot us a question. He will be more than happy to help you.
All right, that'll be the last bonus material I'll throw out there. Is like I've done this with so many people that we've interviewed, and some of them are very busy, very professional people. I don't think I have run across any of them that have not at least given me some sort of response with emails and stuff like that. And the people I've talked to that have sent them something have said, yeah, they responded. Yes, they're on a podcast and they're podcast famous and all that kind of stuff, but they are accessible. And especially when they say, hey, reach out to me this way, reach out to them that way. If you have questions, if you can help them out, if they can help you out, that's how the world works these days. And it also works by us getting back to work. So thank you guys for all your time. Appreciate all that you guys have done and hanging out with us. We are not done. We are continuing. I think we're going to dive right back into yet another interview. We will get back around to some foundational stuff from our point of view, but you guys are probably tired of listening to us anyways, so we're getting some fresh voices in, and we're going to keep on doing that for a while because honestly, that is a lot of fun for us as well. We've always had great interviews and discussions. Go out there and have yourself a good one, and don't hold your breath too much. But we will be back for another episode. Until then, have yourself a great day, great week, great month, great fourth quarter, and sinus and allergy season. Talk to you next time.